Lots of people ask me this question, what exactly I do. And honestly, even people who are a bit close to me, they also don't fully get it. It's not because that they are dumb or stupid, but I think it's because the world they grew up in is very different from the one we are living in right now. And it's very hard to change the mindsets. And like most of us were raised with a very specific idea of work and career. For example, you pick one skill, you specialize in that, and then you become useful in one narrow specific way possible, and then you earn money, and then that's how you survive, right? That's the idea we all have in our minds. So when someone hears the word design, they imagine graphics, visuals, and marketing trends, right? And I understand why they do that because the mindset comes from an industrial world we lived in, a world where jobs were very fixed and predictable and repeatable. Like you could repeat the task again and again without any other instructions. And you were highly instructed in the job you were doing before. Like you gotta be expert and specialized in that specific field, right? That's how we lived in. But that world doesn't exist anymore. There is a designer and a critical thinker named as Alice Rawsthorn, and I went to her talk in my university, and there she was giving this lecture, and then she talks about this idea that design is an attitude. And that idea kind of stayed with me, and I kept thinking about it because when you look at the world today, right, the world we are living in right now, with AI and climate change and cities under pressure, and the social systems breaking down around the world with all these wars going on and the political systems collapsing, you realize something very important, that skills alone are not enough. To me, design as an attitude means this: a way of looking at the world and a habit of questioning things. And most importantly, a willingness to understand how things actually work. If you have an attitude, the skills will come. But if you only have skills without an attitude, then you will stay stuck in a small box you were given by someone else. And in the 21st century, the boxes are fragile because they are breaking. And we can see that through the job market we are seeing around the world, that the jobs are collapsing, right? And I think people don't reduce design to a skill because they are shallow, but they do it because we have been taught that usefulness equals to value. And I do get that. And that's also true because you gotta be useful in order to earn money, right? And money is a very important part of life. We all know that. But if you can't immediately explain what you do, and if you don't fit in a specific job title given by society, and if you don't produce something tangible fast enough, then you're seen as unnecessary, someone who is odd one out, right? And I think maybe that's why people also ask me the question. But again, if you look around, the problems we are facing today are not graphic related problems. And they are not marketing related problems. They are systematic problems. Like climate change, if you look around, and the problems around the cities we are living in. The cities are growing day by day, and the population is moving to the cities as well. But we have limited resources. Think about those things. And the policies we are living around, the technology we are living around, and especially the human behavior. The human behavior is evolving so fast, and you can see so many examples of that we humans are losing humanity. Like the way the wars are happening around the world and things are happening, like it's crazy to see the news nowadays, right? Personally, if I think about it, design has a role in all of them, not as a decoration again, but as a way of understanding and shaping systems. And this idea completely changed how I observe the world. When I travel, especially when I go back to my home country, I don't just see the buildings or streets, I notice how people move, how they talk and how they use the language and how they react to their surroundings. And also see to try to understand the pollution happening there and the water disappearance or the lack of resources around that area. and why a specific group of people live in a specific area with some kind of lack, or some people live in a specific area. Like there are so many things you can observe, like the tensions of the city, right? So it's not just because I'm judging them. No, obviously not. Because I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand how that specific city and how that specific area works, and that attitude makes you ask questions you would have never asked otherwise. And those questions lead to research, and the research leads to responsibility. So, we live in a century of uncertainty. I hope you understand that. No one knows exactly what jobs will exist in future, in next 5 years maybe. No one knows how technology will evolve. No one knows how cities will change. And if all of you have this one single skill, you are dependent on the context it was designed for. But if you have an attitude, then multiple skills built around it, then you can adapt. Then you are flexible to change according to the change in the society. You can connect things. You can move across fields. You can respond instead of panicking. That's the difference of having design as attitude, not just one skill. So, design as an attitude isn't something you switch on at work. It shows up in how you use your phone, how you respond to notifications, and how, like algorithm shapes your attention, and how dopamine continuously and quietly controls your behavior. So, most people never question these things. They just blindly adapt and accept those things because they are designed for them by someone else, and they don't even question it. So, design as an attitude is about noticing those small things and asking whether the system around you is actually serving you, or you are the product in that system. So, you don't need to be a designer for this to matter, because if you work an office job and you walk the same route every day and live in a same city, you still interact with designed systems constantly. Like, if you have an attitude, then you might notice some pattern there, a problem there, or even an inefficiency there, and even opportunity, and maybe change something slowly, quietly, meaningfully. And that's also design. So it's that simple. So when I say design is not a skill, I don't mean skills don't matter. They do matter. But skills without attitude stay too narrow, and attitude without curiosity disappears. So, just to conclude everything in one single sentence, it would be: design is an attitude because the world is no longer fixed. And the way we look at it shapes what we can do with it. Thank you.